Wow. I guess notifications worked, huh? Already one viewer, and it's not me, right? And we know how I feel about these lives, but right now it's simple. And but anything else when it relates to people, I'm going to be using my camcord because I am not doing this by myself. Okay, understand. I do not have a lawyer that represents me in court regarding Uncle John. Right? Because it's too heavy duty stuff that we're talking about here. We're talking about white collar criminal activity. That's why the last judge that I was in front of, which I'm going to discuss, that's why I'm here, said, send it to the cops. Whatever you've got, take it to the cops. This was in the end of February. I'm just going to get with the gist, people, because I will do this until I die, basically, because I'm not going to let them get away with what they've done. I'm not. And I'm not going to let them get away with what they've done with Shemaine. And since we're on that subject, duty of care to the patient, I'm going to highlight how Amari is going into the system, being poked 25 times in each arm by different blood technicians that obviously don't know what the fuck they're doing. Because when I said go in here, one poke you missed, two poke you got it. Two pokes in that part. I turn my back, I go away, and then Tisha's, why are you doing that? They did it again, even after I told the doctor to tell the blood technicians to do it in the arm. Apparently the doctor said he did it, but they didn't listen to the doctor because when they came back when I wasn't around to take blood a second time, what did they do? In and out on angles like this, trying to get the little vein when you can clearly see the little vein right there. And when Tisha called him on it, said, no, my mom said, do it right there. One, missed, two, got it. So as I'm dealing with this stuff, I'm going to remind Fraser Health Authority lawyer Andrew the Dragon what his corporation does to people and how they target families. Uncle John, Shemaine, and now Amari. Messing up with the MRIs as they're going in and out of the fucking door, slamming and making a bunch of noise, picking a fight with me. Because I want to see what's going on. But yet you go online and you can see that parents can be with their children in other facilities. With the lights on, not in the dark. Oh, needless to say, people, I'm riled up. Completely riled up. And that's okay, though. That's okay, though. Because I'm up for the challenge. Yep. So, anyway, I did say that Uncle John's life was in limbo. Right? But he still has his room, people, and I'm not abandoning him. I never did. I never did abandon Uncle John. I'm not the one who snuck him out in a freaking hammock, all drugged up, and then put him in the bowels of a ferry and shipped him across the water and then quickly rushed him into an emergency saying, look how we found him, look how we found him. And then used taxpayers' dollars to probably give him shock therapy because he wasn't so freaking depressed as he was being told he wasn't allowed to see the kids no more, that was in the past. Just to shut him up as they were continuing to drug him. Right? So, I figured this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to get myself my wipeout board and I'm going to put it in the fucking war room. War room 1. So I'm going to work on over the weekend as I'm doing other things around here. Right? And I'm going to write down on that wipeout board on a piece of paper so it doesn't get erased. Yeah, because this is the plan. From the time I filed my first notice of claim against Fraser Health Authority and CIBC Bank, that's going to be at the top of the list on this chart that I'm going to put up in my war room as I work on the funny. You're going to see how they play dirty pool in court, right? Because what I got in the mail today, this is what I got in the mail today. Now, we know my eyes don't work, right? And don't forget, people, I got to do this with pressure in my head. My eyeballs, just freaking out all the time, right? You know what I mean? And I can't fucking see. But, it's not like I can go into the healthcare system and get any fucking help here because we already know my family is being targeted, right? So, and I'm going to make sure when I go in front of a judge, I'm going to let them know that. So this is what I got in the mail today, Court of Appeal, because just as a gift, real fast, but I'm going to write it on that chart and then I'm going to put it in a war room. So the next time I do a video around this matter, it will be with the camera so that we have that, external hard drive, right? So it's the external hard copy, right? So it doesn't get erased for whatever fucking reason, right? Because people like to play dirty pool all the time. And I'm going to put half on this half, Fraser Health Authority, and on this half, CIBC Bank. I'm going to put their numbers in there, and I'm going to add us in where we are within the court system. Because what happened with Fraser Health Authority, I went in front of a judge 3 times, right, in a matter of like 3 hours. 1 hour each time, less than that, because I only had 15 minutes or so to talk, if that, right? So anyway, first time I went in front of the judge, this is where you have to get back into the paperwork, right? What happened? I don't even remember. I'm so stressed out. I know, though, I went with Tisha, I think it was the second time, in front of a judge, that's the one that falsified his fucking files, his transcripts, and trust me, I'm putting these fucking judges' name up on this chart. And I'm going to put Amari's situation on this chart too, because I'm in court with that, people. Okay? So I'm going to start naming all these fucking judges that I'm coming into contact with. Okay? And how they're playing a role in my life and in my children's lives, my remaining children's lives, and my grandchildren's lives for the rest of their lives, because this affects the rest of their lives. All right? I know I'm kind of aggressive right now because I'm extremely agitated, right? Because like I just want to cry, really, but I'm not going to cry. There's no time to be whatever. So anyway, I got Fraser Health Authority over here. I got CIBC Bank over here. I'm going to have Amari stuff over here because this is what I got to deal with between now and July. And over here, I'm telling you people, as I'm dealing with this, are you listening, Andrew? Huh? Do you want to play dirty pool? I can play dirty pool too, Andrew. I'm filing another lawsuit. Just as I'm coming to court to deal with this shit, I'm filing another lawsuit. Duty of care. What kind of duty of care did you give my daughter, Shamay? I'd like to know. I'd like to know. You want to sit up there and falsify those fucking medical records and sit up there and say, I denied my daughter's organs to be donated? As your staff sat up there and accused my daughter of being this, that, and everything else under the sun, and then when it came right down to the fucking crunch, said they couldn't take her organs because her body was contaminated with cocaine? Explain yourself and don't send it to the fucking cops because the cops don't want to deal with it because as far as they're concerned, there is no such thing as murder by fentanyl in the province of British Columbia, Canada. That's a myth. It's either a suicide or an accident. So explain yourself, Andrew. Because I know you're watching my shit. Sooner or later, you can't help yourself. Because you're not an honest fucking man. You protect the corporation. You don't protect the patients. More than one. I have 3 patients within your system. 4. Sierra. How are you protecting my daughter, Sierra? I get told that she goes to the emergency freaking ward, right? She's going fucking bonkers, right? Her arm is ready to explode. And what does she do? She strips down in the waiting room, screaming at the top of her lungs, making no sense at all. And what do you people do? You have your social workers running around saying, oh, there's Sierra just acting like Sierra. You don't freaking commit her. Oh, God, no. Because that costs the taxpayers, the corporation money to take my daughters off the street. Oh, and speaking of that, what happened to Shemaiah House? 2 days ago, she was supposed to go into recovery, right? Gave her $40 to go into recovery. They were going to lock her up for 2 weeks so she could detox out and then give her a place to live for a year so she could work on doing what she needs to do. It didn't happen, people. She running around. Some guy came to my fucking door today asking me, well, where's my bag? Where's my bag? Because I guess he brought her here and she jumped out of the car with the bag, not realizing it was not her bag. She took his bag. Anyway, long story short, do you know how this guy met my daughter? I'm going to tell you right now how this guy met my daughter. He drives a big rig. Apparently, he's been on recovery. He's been recovery himself for 17 years. So he knows about, addiction and all that crap, right? So anyway, he bought himself a rig. So he's like a big ass truck driver, So I guess he was sitting in his rig. And there's my daughter. He said, jumping up and down, trying to get attention, trying to get a fucking attention, right? Because she's got nowhere to go. She's just whatever, is freezing outside, whatever. He ends up taking her to his place. He ends up fucking feeding her, letting her sleep on the couch, gave her breakfast in the morning. And then for somehow, some way, ended up here. And she's asking me for money. And I'm like, well, why aren't you in recovery? Andrew, why is my daughter not in recovery? She's clearly insane, right? Every time she goes to the hospital, your people can document that, but they're ignoring it. Why? Because she has no money to steal? Is that it? Uncle John was just confused. By definition of people who don't know how to speak fucking English and were in some beehive mentality to rob his money. But again, Sierra's contribution to society is to take care of the riffraff that's out there wanting to rape the wives that sit in these fucking monster homes and think that their shit don't stink. What else would it be, people? She needs help. The health authority is not giving it to her. So that's 4 people in my family who have been impacted by a negligent corporation, not including myself, who cannot knowingly trust this corporation to give me quality health care of any kind. So what's happening to me? I'm going blind. Blinder and blinder and blinder. The ringing in my ears is getting worse. I went to physiotherapy. The dude said, you need to go to the doctor, go for an MRI. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. If I find out I have a fucking tumor, trust me, people, I will fucking live with it until I'm fucking dead. And I told that guy, I'm not going to go for no chemotherapy and all this other fucking shit. Do you know how much I weigh? 90 pounds. How long do you think I'm going to live for? Not that long. Not in that system. Not in that fucking system. There is no duty of care. I told Tisha to order me, what is it called? 2018 or 2017 Criminal Code of Canada. Bring that back up. Bring that shit back up. Right? They don't like it when I show up with 2009. Judge last one said to me, well, I noticed you have a 2009 Criminal Code of Canada. Maybe you should bring that up to par. Yeah, fucking right. I'll bring it up to fucking par. So we're going to have Fraser Health Authority on this side. We're going to have CIBC Bank on this side. We're going to have all this nonsense that's going on with Amari on this side. And then we're going to have the new lawsuit that's going to be filed against Shemay. What they did to Shemay's body. And her family. Again. Again, people. Again. As they want to sit up here and accuse me of abandoning Uncle John. As they play dirty pool. Because that's the only way they know how to play. They don't know how to play fucking fair. But yet, they're the professionals. They're the ones that give you the health care. Right? Okay, so let me read this. Oh, yes. First, 3 judges. First one, I don't remember what happened. I have to go into the files. Second one, he dismissed it. We had a little 15-minute fucking trial with the courtroom full of people coming in with their stories. And that judge dismissed it based on case law that Andrew came in with some girl that was mentally something put into some care facility, and then the parents tried to sue the doctor, and then because the doctor had the duty of care to the patient, somehow it threw out the parents' application, and the lawyer, Andrew, used that case law that had nothing to do with Uncle John, in absolutely no relation. That's how it got thrown out of court. As that judge told me to go back to school and stop wasting his time. That was the second time I went to court. So, of course, I'm going to appeal, right? The only thing is, I don't have any more money, right? Because I got stuck with all the fucking bills, right? And so eventually I get around to appealing it, and I put an application. This is what the application was. This what is here is in no relation to the application that I put in with the appeal board or appeal process, right? To have my $200 fee waived so that I could go in front of an appeal board, which would be 3 judges to discuss the notice of claim, the lawsuit, right? So, okay, I get there with Tisha, right? Big open chamber, judge sitting there. There's Andrew with his student lawyer beside him. I'm being told, if you remember and go back into my videos, I'm only allowed 3 pages for the appeal process. I'm supposed to write something, right? I wrote 7. I go there. I have to rewrite it, bring it down, because they told me first I had to write something. 7, 5 pages, whatever. That's what I was told. I ended up writing 7 pages, and then I go there. I go to submit it. They wouldn't take it. They said I'm allowed only 3 pages. So by the time I get to this appeal process, but it's an application to waiver the fees, people. It was an application to waiver the fees, the $200 fee, so that I could go in front of an appeal board. But Andrew came in with his big ass fucking file folder. Well, maybe not that big, but this big, with his case files, court files, or whatever, case law. He came in with his case law all over again, turned my application to have the fees waived back into a little mini fucking trial, right? Where I had to have my turn now to defend myself, saying, well, under this legislative act, provincial, and this legislative act, provincial, and this legislative act, provincial, this is why we need to be moving forward. Does that sound like we're talking about I'm a poor person and I can't afford $200 and therefore pass on and let me go in front of a fucking 3-panel judge to explain what I'm explaining to this judge that really wasn't any of his damn business? Okay, this is what I'm up against. So that judge says, oh, well, provincial loose and then I said, fuck it. And I just started going and rattling off the Criminal Code of Canada, one after another, after a fucking another. And then that judge didn't know what to think. So he called the freaking sheriff on me. He called the fucking sheriff on me, people. Because I got loud and I was saying, well, hold on a minute. No. We're not. Okay, if you don't want to deal with the provincial laws, then let's fucking deal with the freaking federal laws under the Criminal Code of Canada, under this section, this section, this section, and this section, and that section. And he didn't like it. He didn't like it. So he called the fucking sheriffs on me, had the sheriffs fucking follow me out, right? You gotta talk quiet, you can't get upset because the judge can't deal with the truth, and if you don't fucking follow the rules and whisper, you're going to go to fucking sheriff jail. So whatever people. Where does it say in there anywhere that I'm poor and I can't afford the $200? And because I had called him out on the federal freaking laws that were broken, that's when he sent me to the cops. That's when he said, okay, fine, I get your point. You know, I'm on the hook here, right? Because I called him on the last judge falsifying his fucking files, his transcripts, judges falsifying their own damn transcripts, right? I guess he didn't want to get caught with that. So he said, oh, well, just take it to the cops. Take it to the cops. And I'm like, okay. So I left. Right? Now, this was at the end of February. When did Shimei get murdered, people? Murder by fentanyl. Lock me up. Sue me. I don't care. I'm standing up for my daughter. I have to look after my grandson for the rest of his life. Can't do it as a poor woman, as everybody's fucking picking a piece off of me here and picking a piece off of me there, and picking my off kids over there and picking them off over there. Right? You expect me to just lay there and let you fucking eat my body without fighting back? You expect me just to fucking sit there and watch you eat my kids without fighting back? Okay. So, all right. Shimei died April 11th. A month and a half after that judge told me to take it to the cops. Right? How much time, people, do you honestly think I've had to work on this shit? Having to rearrange my life with accommodating a baby that's disabled. Right? As I'm being gang stalked by people that just want to harm my family. As I go into the system and I can see that the system hasn't changed its ways when it comes to harming my family. I mean, it's bad enough that they did that to Amari 25 times in each arm and then come back and do it again. But to mess up on the MRI and then expect me to put him through those machines again without any guarantee that they can provide proper health care because they just use sedation versus anesthesia like the children's hospital. But there's no guarantee the anesthesia will work too. He might wake up for that one. Yeah, well, you guys had your chance more than once. And what did you do? All you did was make him cry. You scared the fucking shit out of him. Right? You I don't know what you did to his mother's body, but you did something and we're going to find out. Because the cops don't want to fucking do their job. No. So when I go take this back to court, I'm going to say, no. Can't depend on the police to do a proper investigation. It's not their job to be pulling up Uncle John's old files, medical files through Fraser Health Authority and the old Yale Center over there. That's Fraser Health Authority's responsibility. It's Fraser Health's responsibility to give it to the freaking court. And if the judge determines that laws were broken, then it's the judge to fucking call in the cops, not me. Especially when the cops don't want to do their damn job. Because it's a cover-up, people. Just like that judge threw it out, made it into a little fucking mini trial, and then fucking threw it out and insulted me and told me to go back to school. And stop wasting his time. But yet, he knew he fucked up. He knew he fucked up, and that's why he falsified his own transcript. He said, after he falsified it, that I can file another one that's not in relation to Uncle John. Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to make him eat his words. That's what I'm going to do. So, this here is in relation to an application that I put in front of a court asking to have the fees waived because I was poor, the $200 fee or whatever it was, so that I can go in front of an appeal board, 3 independent judges to discuss what happened to Uncle John. For some reason, it turned into a kangaroo court, turned into a fucking mini trial where the only thing that saved my ass was federal freaking the Criminal Code of Canada and those laws, to the point where it put the judge on the spot and told me to send it to the cops. But because Shimei died, I haven't had any real time to work on this stuff, right? And now I'm having to deal with it because this is what I got in the mail today. And of course, I don't understand it because I'm like completely stressed out. We already know that, people. But I have to. I have to. I have to do this. I have to do this until I'm dead. I have to. Amari deserves justice for his mom. Shimei didn't deserve what happened to Shimei in regards to what happened to Uncle John, any more than what happened to Andre, any more than what's happening to Sierra. If these corporations want to sit up there and say that they represent the public and duty of care to the patient under the Criminal Code of Canada in terms of preservation of life and all this other fucking crap, well, then the general public needs to hold them to account when they fuck up. If they're willing in the United States of America to have 500,000 freaking illegal immigrants come in and swarm the court system with their asylum seeking freaking applications to the point where it drowns out that one person like me that stands up and says, hold on a minute, maybe having all these immigrants coming into our country, providing freaking health care to the most vulnerable, like Uncle John in terms of his age, or even Amari. Because let me tell you something, those people that were poking like this, I doubt they were born in this country. So I guess my voice just has to get loud, that's all. I guess I'll have to go to jail for it or something. Okay, let me read this. All right. January 28th. Did I just not do a video talking about this a day ago in the sewing room? Like I said, they watch my videos. This letter is to advise you that pursuant to Section 25(1) of the Court of Appeal Act, because it went into the appeals, but it never got approved because it got sent to the cops. And I don't even know if financially I qualify, because that's what the application was for. This matter has been placed on an inactive appeal list. Well, yeah, no kidding. I've been dealing with Shimei and her issues. I'm still grieving people. My children are still grieving people. We're being held hostage against people that are stalking us, calling MCFD on us every fucking 2 months. And if it's not that, it's the police when I'm not being threatened to be punched out or something stupid. Right? I'm supposed to work on this stuff, eh? Okay. You will find Section 25 on the reverse side of this letter. You may apply to a judge in chambers pursuant to Section 25(2). So I have to go online, burn out my eyes, waste more paper and ink to find out where these sections are under the Appeal Act, because now I'm dealing with two different things. Don't forget, CIBC Bank asked me to send in the documents. They're not trying to throw it out of court, people. They're asking me to send the shit in with the document list. But I haven't done that because everything went up in arms in terms of when Shimei died, baby came up, things have been moved around, right? Everybody's depressed, right? We know what's going on with Amari being passed around 3 times a week, right? We know that my health is struggling with the eyes and everything, pressure in my head, ringing in my ears. We know spring is coming. If I don't do the yard, right, what happens? Landlady gets mad, but my rent is going up. I'm expected to work in the yard as I pay more rent, as I'm looking to move out now because of my grandson in the future at some point to accommodate his physical needs. Okay. You may apply to a judge in chambers pursuant to Section 25(2) to have the matter removed from the inactive list. In the alternative, if all parties consent to the removal of the matter from the inactive list, you may file Form 27 indicating the consent of counsel or the parties. This consent may only be used once. First of all, Fraser Health Authority, Andrew, is not going to consent to anything. He's been trying everything under the sun in order to make me look like I'm a piece of shit and get it thrown out of court. So he's not going to agree to let it go to trial. I have to fight for it, people. If no steps are taken, the appeal will stand dismissed as abandoned. I am not abandoning Uncle John. And I'm not abandoning Shimei. I'm not even abandoning Sierra. Because I'll make sure I put Sierra when I write this stuff. That little incident in the freaking, what is it called? Emergency ward. And how those people in that ward just say, oh, business as usual with Sierra. Just send her back out after they're done doing whatever they do with her. And it's certainly not making her better. Pursuant to Section 225.5 on July 5th of 2019. If you wish to abandon your appeal, a precedence is attached for your use. Well, obviously I don't, people. I don't. So they gave me the form. I guess this is the to abandon my notice of claim. Now you remember when I put the application in to the appeal, it was to waiver the fees. We haven't even dealt with that part yet, people. They just skirted that all together because they didn't want me to go in front of 3 judges, knowing what I know. Like I said, with that 3rd judge, if I wouldn't have sat here and started rattling off the Criminal Code of Canada and all the various sections and how Fraser Health infringed on that and broke freaking federal laws, he probably would have gotten thrown out of court. But put the judge on the spot, so much so that he called the sheriff on me to scare the shit out of me and then sent me to the cops. And after what happened to Shimei and how the cops have been dealing with the whole situation, like seriously, man, do you honestly think that I think that the cops are going to go do a good job investigating as to what happened to Uncle John? If they don't even want to try and get into Shimei's freaking Facebook, right? Or look at the evidence that I gave to them and just assume that just because someone says, I didn't do it, that they're telling the truth. When there's so much other evidence to say otherwise. Do you honestly think they're going to go looking for Uncle John's files and come back with the truth? No. It's Fraser Health Authority's responsibility to go look for those files and give it to the judge. And give me a copy. Because I don't even expect the judge to do their job and say, oh yeah, like something's not adding up right here. Like we need to investigate further. Judge is not going to do that because the judge is there to protect the fucking corporation because they all have lunch together, people. They all frequent the same bars. They all fucking go to the same sex fucking orgies or whatever they do in their day when they're not working. Swingers, you know? They join. Rich people like to swing. I'm dealing with swingers that can afford to be swingers. Okay, next page over. So this one here is to do something. Consent order to remove proceedings from an inactive list. So when I go to court, I'm going to find out how I can get it in front of a fucking judge. To move forward, to go in front of an appeal court. An appeal freaking, what do you call that? Judges. As I bring in my document list and file it so that CIBC Bank has it, as I file another lawsuit against Fraser Health Authority, Andrew. So people, if I end up dead, we know why. Okay? And that's why I'm doing this video. Because there are actually a couple of women out there that can see how hard I struggle with this shit. And let me tell you something, these women, and they know it. They know that they are just as vulnerable as I am. Because it is the women with the children and the old people who are being targeted. Because we don't have anybody to stand beside us and fight for us. I can't even go get a lawyer, people. Because no lawyer wants to be disbarred for standing up against corporate corruption. It's not worth losing their bread and butter over it. So I am forced to stand there by myself. No person involved is under the legal disability. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. All parties have consented to this order. No, I consent to nothing. All parties have agreed to comply hereafter with the time limit set forth. I don't even know. I don't know, people. I'm back to I don't know. Set forth in the Court of Appeal Act and the Court of Appeal rules. It is ordered that this appeal application for leave to appeal, again, this was not an application to appeal. I had to plead with that judge to take my 2.5 pages. Remember that? As Andrew came in with his 40, 50, 60 pages. With his funky case law that had nothing to do with what we were discussing, which was, I'm poor, here's my application to waive the appeal fee of $200 so I can take it to the next level and go in front of 3 judges. Whatever happened to that? Do you think the cops are going to investigate that? No, they're laughing, people. The cops are fucking laughing. Just like they're laughing over Shimei's urn. Can't say grave because she's not buried. But they're laughing. She's just a statistic that either killed herself or it was an accident. In their opinion. But they can't prove it because they don't go looking for the truth. And when it's staring them in the face, they turn the other way. And that's what I'm going to tell the judge when I get in front of one of them. Because sooner or later, I'll be in front of one of them. And then they gave me this. Court of Appeal Act, inactive appeals or application for leave to appeal. And then it gets wordy. Remember all this pressure. You see, I can't see what is being typed out on there with these glasses that were prescribed to me. They're double vision. This is supposed to be up here, my everyday running around doing whatever. Down here is supposed to be for reading. I prefer just to use these when I'm sewing. If I got to do any kind of computer read, I have to put on dollar store glasses. And then you can see how I'm having to go back. This is how I'm going to have to work with this shit, people. And Fraser Health knows it. It's called soft kill. They get you over here, sock it to you with Uncle John, sock it to you with Shimei, do a few jabs here, a few jabs there, make a bunch of fucking noise in the MRI room so the baby wakes up halfway through the bloody process so they have to do it again and then come back and do this shit again. Do you see? And they expect you to just smile. Hi. They expect you just to smile. I'm doing a live here. I have to go to the courthouse, pick up with Uncle John stuff. So if you're wondering what I'm doing over here. So anyway, what did you write? I can't even read. Andrew, you are toast. Yeah. I got my own batch of dragons. On phone with sister. Okay, breathe. Yeah, I'm breathing. Okay, now you see, I can't read. Do you see, people? And then when I go to court, this is what happens. I'm flipping glasses around, and the judge is watching it, and They think it's a joke. Obviously. Because single women with children and old people that they look after can't defend themselves. Right? And they know it. And you're not going to get no lawyer stepping up to the plate because they're not going to want to lose their job. And they know it. So if anything happens to me, people, we know why. I'm talking like something sudden and stupid. Okay, I don't know how much you're going to be interested in this, but I'll read a little bit of it. Inactive appeals. Or application for leave to, I just want to read so that you understand how wordy it can get. And if you don't work with this stuff all the time, you know, and especially if you've got the ringing in the ears, the eye problem and the pressure, and you've got other things, and, you know, you've got people harassing you and threatening you, and you're doing things that you don't want to do, right? And, you know, you're watching your children or your grandchildren being injured with people that are doing it with fucking malicious intent and all this other shit, right? Just so they can make you look like you're fucking crazy when you speak out against it, right? I mean, like, this is what I'm up against, people. Then you get this stuff in the mail, and then you have to read it like you're the freaking lawyer, and you understand because you've been working as a lawyer for the last 35 years, right? And it's like brushing your teeth, you know, you've done it a million times. So for a lawyer, it's nothing. But for somebody that doesn't know, still sitting about, well, what happened to that $200, you know, freaking application to waive those fees? I mean, that's what the application was. So I don't even know how the cops got involved. And since the cops have been involved, like, what have they done? What have they done? Nothing. They've done absolutely nothing, people. So I would have spent $700, $400, $300, at least $300, if not more, on paperwork, handed all over to the fucking cops. And what do you think that would have happened with it? It would have ended up as paper shredding. They just would have shredded it. They would have came back and said, oh, no. It says right here. It says right here. Uncle John was depressed. Yeah, no kidding. They won't find out how they transported him in a fucking hammock after they drugged him up. No, they won't admit to that. That's all hidden, right? They can't find that file. No doctor on site that day, right? Okay, I'm just going to read a little bit of this just so you can see how kind of like a little mindfuckery. And don't forget, they got the black law book. I don't got the black law book, but they do. And apparently this black law book kind of like is pretty important for lawyers because it teaches them how to play dirty pool. It changes the rules, even though the court is always throwing the rules at you. And that's why I'm going to write it down in black and white so that people can see how I've been screwed around with them throwing rules at me, but they're not following the rules. If a certificate, this is 25-1. If a certificate of readiness is not filed, well, what the fuck is readiness? In accordance with the rules within 1 year after the filing of the applicable notice of appeal. Again, I never got it approved for an appeal, people. We were in the process of just making it so I didn't have to pay. Or applicant, and then they told me to send it to the cops. And then Shimei died. And then I started having threats against my persons as I'm being gang stalked on Facebook and YouTube. As the cops are fucking playing games. Putting my family further at risk. To what happened to Shimei. In terms of whatever happened to Shimei was going towards Tisha Room, and she was next. Don't think I forgot about that dream, because I haven't. Applicable notice of appeal or application for the leave to appeal, or if a certificate of readiness has been filed within the period, but a notice of hearing has not been filed within 2 months after the filing of the certificate of readiness, the registrar must place. Now you have to remember, I can't trust the registrar, because when you're dealing with an appeal, it goes to a different department, right? When you put in a notice of claim, you go to the main registry and you do everything through that. When it gets thrown out of court, and if you want to appeal, then you have to go upstairs to this little office, and they will somewhat help you to get the right forms for what it is that you need. In terms of my case at that time, was I didn't have the $200, and I was putting an application in to have that waived before I could have an appeal, right? And then that's when I was told that I needed to write 7 pages, because I brought it down to 7 pages. And then I was told I was only allowed 3 pages. And then when I got in front of the judge refused to take the pages, because that's not what we were there for, because it wasn't an appeal. But yet Andrew could submit whatever Andrew was submitting. And then that's when I pleaded with the judge to at least take the 3 pages, 2.5 or whatever the hell it was, that I had. It was 3.5 pages. And again, the only thing that saved my ass in terms of send it to the cops was because I was throwing around the federal laws after the judge ignored the provincial laws. He literally ignored anything provincially that I was saying, that under this act, this was broken. 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 Oh, well, yeah. Duty of care. Andrew says, well, hold on, Your Honor. What about under the Criminal Code of Canada? This section, this section, this section, this section, this section. Ding, 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 ding. The fucking sheriff came. So I don't know how this applies to any of that, people. I really don't. Place the appeal or application for leave to appeal on the inactive appeal list maintained in the registry, and mail notice, this is B, mail notice of the action taken by the register, because I can't trust the register people. I can't trust the register people at the freaking appeal board. They led me down the garden path. They made me look stupid in fucking court. Completely fucking stupid. They set me up to fucking fail. And Andrew took advantage of that. So it's not like I can go up to the appeal desk and ask them to help me, because they'll help me. But when I show up with doing what they told me to do, it won't matter, because Andrew will come in with his whatever he's got with his case law and get it fucking just thrown out of court, as they threaten to charge me for their time. But yet, the duty of care is to the patient. What have they got to say about Shimei? There was no patient when Shimei went into the hospital. Shimei was dead. So why the fuck was she on machines for 8 days, Andrew? I'd like to know. My friends on YouTube would like to know, because they got children too. And they got grandkids. Some of them have husbands. So, out of 500,000 immigrants in the United States of America coming in with their asylum freaking applications, taking over the court system, and the judges are too busy to listen to real fucking shit that goes on in the community. I'm that one voice out there, because if it's happening in the United States of America with all these immigrants going in there and flooding the fucking court system and burying what's going on out in the community with real lives, real people, real children, real old people, real teenagers, real young people, right? Real mothers, real fathers, real children, then you know it's happening in Canada. You know my voice is being drowned out. You know my voice is being drowned out when I go to court and say, Honor, we're just supposed to be here to see if I qualify for the $200 deduction. Why are we turning this into a little mini trial where I have to start labeling all these freaking legislated acts? Why do I need you to stand there, sit there, and mock me and say that those legislated acts are not pertinent to what we're talking about? And therefore, you're just going to fucking deny my request for being in poverty to have it go in front of a 3-judge panel, right? Why did I have to start bringing out the Criminal Code of Canada in order to get your attention, Your Honor? Why do I have to take all this information and ask the cops to fucking help me when they don't even want to help my murdered daughter? Because they're too busy rubber stamping everything in terms of, oh, suicide. Oh, family's arguing with that. Okay, well, we'll change it. We'll put it to accident. And they won't have a choice but to accept it. Because we're the professionals and we know what we're doing. And while we're doing it, we'll make sure that we take organs legitimately out of one of every 5 donations that come in from death and injury in our community that directly relate to fentanyl and other drugs. Nineteen 23% of all organ donations come in from people that do have had fentanyl and other drugs in their system in the province of British Columbia, Canada, in terms of the organ donor registry. But yet, Shimei wasn't allowed to have her organs donated because her body was contaminated. And then they falsified her files, saying that I denied that to happen, which is a bunch of crock. So you can see how I'm up against the corruption, people. So if something happens to me because I'm that one voice out of 500,000 being drowned out by everybody else's problems in terms of they want to come to this country and take it over and provide quality health care as they migrate into the healthcare system to take care of the Uncle Johns in the world and the Shimeis in the world, and then turn around and do this shit. We'll just read a little more. The Gibber Goo. This is 25-2. An appeal or an application for leave to appeal. I don't even know what that means, people. I don't. Referred to in subsection 1 shall be removed from the inactive list when a justice grants leave to the appellant or the applicant to proceed with the appeal or application for leave to appeal. Again, I can't say it enough. This is not an appeal. This was not an application for an appeal. This was an application to waive the fees so that I could appeal. But they turned it into a little mini trial and then tried to throw it out. And because he said take it to the cops, that's what I was going to do. But then Shimei died. And my world was turned upside down again. A justice may, in order under subsection 2, impose terms and conditions and give directions that the justice considers appropriate. I guess that's when you send it to the cops. The register shall return the appeal or application for leave to appeal to the inactive appeal list and shall mail notice of that action in accordance with subsection 1B if A justice makes an order under subsection 2 that requires terms, conditions, or directions to be complied with by a specific date. There was no date as to how long I needed to take it to the cops. Judge just didn't want to deal with it and said, take it to the cops. Specific date, and the appellant or applicant fails to comply with those terms, conditions, or directions by that date. In any other case, a certificate of readiness is not filed in accordance with rules within 180 days after the making of the order under subsection 2 in respect to the appeal or application for leave to appeal. And don't forget, we still got that black book sitting up over in Andrew's pocket. It's not as cut and dry as we like it to be. An appeal or application for leave to appeal that has remained on the inactive list, on the inactive appeal list for 180 consecutive days shall, on the 181 first day, stand dismissed as abandoned. I already stated 2 nights ago that I am not ever abandoning Uncle John, whether in life or whether in death. An appeal or application for leave to appeal that stands dismissed as abandoned under Section 5 shall not be reinstated unless a justice orders otherwise. Exactly. Unless a justice orders otherwise. So when I deal with this, people, I am filing another notice of claim against Fraser Health Authority, and I would expect Andrew will show up with his black book in his back pocket. And that's fine. That was the purpose of this video. And from this point forward, we're just going to have to deal with that funky camera that I have where I'm always hitting it. Because I want to have an external hard copy on my external hard drive as I go through this, because I refuse to go through this by myself. It's bad enough that I have to represent myself, okay, against these sharks and piranhas and everything else that I'm coming into contact with, okay? So I'm going to make sure that I'm not alone. My girlfriends, my YouTube girlfriends can mentor me through it, at least in moral support, okay? Because this what is going on in society today is wrong. It is wrong. This is why I filed these lawsuits, because it is wrong to come in and tear families apart just because they don't have a lot of money, or, you know, the white picket fence with the poodle on the side, and, you know, driving the Hummer at 4 o'clock in the morning, being the gangster, while you're driving the minivan, being the mom during the day. You know what I mean? Right? Everybody bases everything on freaking money. Yeah, money. Right? The ones that have the money, they don't get targeted, people. The ones that have their fucking, you know, their drug labs and all that, they don't get targeted, people. They don't. They're allowed to go out there and poison the community, and because they're making money. Right? They live in the big houses. They drive the Hummers. You know, they've got the freaking large bank accounts. You know, they're building this and they're building that. But at the same time, they're the ones that are running the fucking fentanyl throughout the community, and the cops ain't doing shit about it. They're not. They're too busy blaming the victims, right? In terms of being suicidal or it was an accident. Well, if it was an accident, you tell me how it fucking happened, because I can tell you how it fucking happened and how it wasn't an accident, and you don't want to accept that. So I'll take it to fucking court, because Fraser Health Authority should have been on the ball from day one. When I went in there and I asked them to start looking over her body for needle marks and all this other shit, they should have done that instead of, oh no, you know, she's this and she's that, and oh yeah, well, you know, yeah, my ass. So I'm going to put a board in my war room 1 with a piece of paper. I'm going to start listing all these fucking judges' names on there in terms of how it falls in with the paperwork, so you can see how they're fucking with me, okay? Because that little shit that I just read right now has nothing to do with an appeal board. It has to do with an application so that I didn't have to pay to go in front of an appeal board. And of course, I will write that down. But these people will completely ignore it. They'll twist it around and they'll throw their wordy bullshit at me as they look in their little black book and come in with all their case laws and say that I'm being, what is it called? Loud as I fight for my family. And then they'll threaten me with the sheriff to lock my ass up as I'm being gang stalked by a different crowd, not knowing if the cops are going to be running through my house tomorrow, if MCFD is going to be calling me up on the phone, if I'm going to be, punched out tomorrow as I hand over the baby. This is Canada for you people. Okay? This is Canada. So for all these immigrants that are coming to fucking Canada thinking that they're going to have a great life, well, let me tell you something. The only way you're going to have a great life is if you're a fucking crook and you have a lot of fucking money. Then you'll have a great life. But if you're poor, chances are you're going to be subject to being targeted. Okay. And if it won't be you, it will be somebody else. Unless, of course, you want to play to their tune and facilitate the kidnapping of old people with their money and everything so that the senior staff within the union sector can profiteer as they exploit your work fucking, union in terms of, well, you're just a cleaner. So don't say nothing because if you say something, we're going to fire you from your job. Even though in 2002, 2003, the PC Liberal government came in and wiped out all your benefit packages because at the end of the day, I'm the senior staff and I'm the one that deserves all those benefit packages. You're just a grunt worker. That's why we import you. So who cares if you can't speak English when you're wiping an old person's ass? That's not what we care about. What we care about is that we can tell you what to do and you fucking do it. Because if you don't, you're being shipped back to your country. Or you'll be targeted like Miss Chorney. That's what I'm up against, people. So that's enough talking. Right now I have to get to work. Sick and all. Doesn't matter. It's the right thing to do. Let's see through all these judges if we find one judge out of the whole batch that will do the right thing. That's what I'm curious to see. If I'm willing to stick my neck out, put my life on the fucking line and die for this shit, let's just see if a judge has any kind of freaking morality about themselves. Let's see if we find one. We only need one real good judge. That's all we need. One judge can change the direction of this province and build in the safety nets that should be here already, but are not. I'm not going to get into preaching. See, I can't see. I can't. For people watching, take care. When I come back on this subject, I will have it on a wipeout board. At least start piecing it in. And together we're going to figure it out. And if you're the enemy, I don't care. You can know my moves. That's fine with me. At least it's being documented. Right? So that when somebody else finds the courage to stand up to you, Andrew, they won't be afraid. And maybe they might learn something as I go through it. And they won't have to struggle as hard. Okay? Not everything comes in money, Andrew. Right? There's other ways to get rewards. There's a lot of old, vulnerable people in this province just sitting ducks. Uncle John was one of them. There's a lot of young people in this province being murdered with fentanyl and nobody's doing shit about it. How do I turn this off?